It is Monday, January 12th, 2026. This is another offseason edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. How was that wild weekend in Carolina, huh? Good?
Had a great time. A long day. I think I was up for like 22 hours on Saturday. So yesterday, chilled, watched a lot of football, but fun, man. Go Rams. They did what they had to do. Tough spot for them. I don't know. Like the Panthers and them, they kind of match up well against each other, I guess you could say.
I guess.
They've given them two tough games.
It was a great way to kick off Wild Card Weekend, but this, of course, is a baseball podcast. So we'll let everybody know that Plouffe did take a private jet from LA to Carolina. I don't think it was Japan Airlines, which a little tip of the cap because they have a Shohei logo on one of their jets. Now that is freaking awesome. How amazing would that be if you like rolled into an airport and saw a big old cartoon like looking thing on the side of a jet like that of you?
That's pretty good right there. What I'm focusing on, first of all, I need a tip of the cap after this. There is a Major League Baseball logo on that plane, which means everybody in the big leagues gets a little piece of that.
Okay, don't look at it just strictly as a financial thing. Can
I'm
we
just
talk
saying,
about-
how cool is that Shohei bringing that in for everybody?
It's good. There's no question about it. I'm thinking more along the lines of like you roll into LAX and then all of a sudden
Shohei sees that
Trevor Plouffe head
everywhere. Like he's not even phased by it.
I know he's not. You're right.
If it was me, yeah, I wouldn't stop talking about it, Chris. I'd be bragging everywhere. Yes. Is that what you want me to say?
You have another tip of the cap you want to
Yeah,
get to?
it's my anniversary today. So, 13 years with my beautiful bride. She is, she's my everything, Chris.
Yes, she is.
She is the center of my universe. She's the best.
Beautiful,
great mom, athletic, very funny, under the radar funny. Olivia is
sneaky funny.
So I love her. So shout out.
Yes, you do. Well, here's to many, many more. Outstanding job. I'm happy for both of you. You're both wonderful people. We love you a lot. Do you celebrate? It's a Monday. So do you celebrate or do you wait until you aren't following the Rams and be fanboy and girl?
We have dinner Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah. That'll be nice. Yeah. You let us know how that, well, actually don't. But congratulations.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Let's get to it. There's a reason I'm wearing a Cubs hat today. They land one of the prize free agents out there, Alex Bregman, 5 for $175. This is just days after trading for Edward Cabrera from the Miami Marlins. There is $70 million in deferral, so it's going to take his AAV down from about $35 to the $30-31 million range per season. That's a big deal. What else is a big deal? Full no trade clause. Apparently, that was a sticking point from the Boston side of things. We'll get to that in a bit. How surprised are you that this is the way things worked out for Breggy?
I'd say I'm a little surprised. I did think he was going to go back to Boston, but the Cubs have been rumored for the last couple of years to be in on Bregg. They just didn't give the offer that he wanted last year. So I guess in that regard, I'm surprised that they went out and got the guy, gave him the most money, gave him the no trade. And now, like, if you just look at that roster, like they've had an incredible offseason. They added on to a team that was already pretty damn good. But you look around that lineup, they got guys that can bang the ball. We know they can play defense. The Edward Cabrera trade, I haven't given enough credit to what I think they can do on the starting pitching side. They have formed a complete team there, and I think they needed to. You get embarrassed like they did against the Brewers. That team takes you out. The team that you're supposed to be like the big brother to, which you just really haven't been. I think you need to make moves like this. You need to go out and get your freaking guy, and they did it. We're showing the lineup right now, and not too many holes there, Chris. Not too many holes in that lineup. That's pretty damn good. Like I said, not just offensively because we know these guys can do that, but defensively, I think they're top 2 team.
Well, I mean, they've got some elite. Now that you bring Bregman in, we're talking about elite defenders at some of the big time positions in the sport. So, right, I mean, you're talking second, third, short, center. Ian Happ's won a Gold Glove. Like that's a lot of good defense. And I think it's a great fit, and let's give the Ricketts some credit because they have been getting blasted in recent years, including by us, who have said, "What? Why are we nickel and diming here? Like, if you're going to go trade for Kyle Tucker, why don't we go make that big move? Why don't we make a huge deadline deal and go at it?" Well, they went out and did it. I mean, we talked about it on Friday's show. We said, "What's the next move for this franchise after they make what is seemingly a decent trade for Edward Cabrera? Go get something. Go get a bat. You have to, based on what happened in the playoffs, where somehow you beat the Padres when you scored 6 runs in 3 games, and then your offense stalled again against the Milwaukee Brewers." Well, they've done that. They have taken one of the great clutch bats that we have seen over the last decade in this sport. We're talking about more than 100 playoff games. A guy who was off to an amazing start in his Boston career, had over a 950 OPS the first 50-plus games. Then he had that terrible quad injury, and he just wasn't the same. He rushed back to get back before the All-Star game, and he just wasn't the same player. But make no mistake, he left a huge mark in that Boston clubhouse. I mean, the thing that no stat can quantify is what a guy means behind those closed doors, what he's doing in building relationships and being a leader. If you listen to a guy like Roman Anthony, who obviously was a youngster that got his extension, he basically said, "Listen, dude, he meant everything to us." He said during the Fenway Fest or whatever they're calling it these days, he said, "I would love to have Bregman back. I love Breggy. He was a huge part of my success and a lot of young guys, and not only the young guys, but many of the guys in this clubhouse." To me, that is the definition of a leader. I think that Chicago can use a little bit more of that here. I think they tried to do it with Justin Turner. He just wasn't the same player at age 40 that he was earlier in his career with the Dodgers. I think Bregman, still in a sweet spot in his career as far as playing. Great deal.
Yeah, I told Jake before this, Bregman owes Cora, Roman Anthony, and I believe even the front office of the Red Sox some money because they kept talking him up about his leadership. And what does that do to your free agency? I mean, it
Right.
just solidifies it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of disagree with you. I don't know if the Cubs needed more leadership. I feel like they got some guys there. Obviously, Bregman's going to add to that, and the work ethic is there. He's going to be another part of that. I mean, they're getting him to leadership's great. He's going to bring that, but they're getting him because they need somebody to swing the sticks, especially in the playoffs. We know what he can do in the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs. Chris, and that they took the Brewer. They took them to 5 games. It's ridiculous to say that, but they went to 5 games in that series. After you mentioned 6 runs against the Padres, 3 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs, 6 runs, 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
They need somebody, a proven postseason bat, and they got one in Bregman. I love the move. I truly do.
102 playoff games, almost an 800 OPS, 19 homers. Great. Sign me up. I know the contract. People are going to say, how's he going to age with it, right? When he's 35, is he going to still be worth $30+ million a year? Probably not. Probably not.
I think he's gonna age well. I'm on that. I've been saying that for years. He just is one of those guys, doesn't rely a ton on his body. He's not some big guy, not some fast guy. He just has
Baseball player.
he's a rat, man. Very efficient with everything that he does. Like, if you're a guy that relies on your speed for a lot of your value, when you get older, it ain't gonna be there. That's just the truth. He doesn't really rely on size, speed, or anything like that. He's just efficient.
So, they're the favorite in the division?
Of the Central right now?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I picked him last year, and once again, Milwaukee laughed at me.
I know. Let me look at the Milwaukee's roster.
Well, I can tell you this, okay?
Right on paper, right now, that Cubs roster rivals almost anyone in the sport.
Wow, that you have that much confidence, huh?
On paper, yeah. I mean, even the pitching staff, I think, is a little underrated. I've underrated them myself.
So, in addition to the Cabrera trade, they have fortified their bullpen, and they needed to because they lost a bunch of guys via free agency. So, Webb, Thielbar is here again. Hobie Milner from the left side, kind of an interesting addition there. The only thing that I can find that Milwaukee has done and that I can remember is trade for Zerpa from Kansas City. And I actually like that deal better for the Royals, where they got Collins and Means. So,
I mean, yeah, you look at the Brewers roster, it's pretty damn good, but you are relying on Andrew Vaughn to be Andrew Vaughn again,
Mhm.
right? Like, that was pretty special what he came over and did. He hasn't been that player throughout his career. I mean, yeah, I'll pick on paper the Cubs, but, like, I mean, in the back of my mind, I'm like, the Brewers are, like, they're gonna win 92 games. So, Cubs, can you win more than that?
I don't know.
I had something else to say about the Cubs, and now I'm forgetting it. Darn it.
This is what happens when you get caught in the air at 35,000 feet too much over the weekend.
I know, just a
It's okay.
jet-setting guy.
Yeah. By the way, I said
Oh,
means, not
the
as in
Cubs
John
signed
means. I
Tyler
meant years.
Austin. I had to
Oh, yeah,
go back,
Tyler
and
Austin came back.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Is that the Tyler Austin, big boy?"
Yeah. Right.
And it is, coming back from a really nice stint over there in Japan. So,
Yeah.
congrats, Tyler Austin. Hey, bench depth, which I think Cubs,
Mhm.
don't be trading anybody. No Nico,
Well,
no Shaw, depth.
okay, so that's what it gets to, right? Jeff Passan is one of many reporters out there that said not that the Cubs are the ones picking up the phone first, but that other teams have been saying, hey, you now have a surplus of infielders with Alex Bregman there. Nico Horner's in his walk year, makes $12 million a year. Maybe you don't want to go over that tax threshold. No, you're shaking your head.
Well, they're
Do
not
not
over
do
the
it.
tax threshold.
They're
So,
not yet, but if they have to add anybody else during the year, that could push them,
are
right?
they right? Yeah, I mean, I don't know
They're
how much under they are. What are they?
Well, it depends once the final numbers
Yeah.
shake out on Bregman, I suppose.
Um,
But basically, Nico Horner, yay or nay?
no, I would say no, you keep him. He's a qualifying offer guy, I believe. So, like, I'm totally
Mhm.
fine with running it right here. And if need be, and if you don't come to some sort of an agreement, maybe they try to extend him, maybe they don't. But, like, he's a qualifying offer guy. I think that's fine. I don't think the package would be worth getting rid of him.
Well, I think the only reason you'd do it is, well, it's not the only reason because
To
I
get
think
what?
you
Matt
could
Shaw
I think you
playing
could
time?
get something based on, look, the guy's making $12 million, which sounds like a ton of money, but for his production, it's not. Last
I know,
year,
but what do teams truly like? How much do they value defense over a 3-month period?
but it's more than just defense with him. He's a but even though he doesn't have any pop, he is way better than an average major leaguer at the dish. So right now the Cubs, Dan just put this in our notes. Cubs are projected at 243 million payroll and everything per roster resource. So that's just under 244 is that first apron there.
I love Nico Horner. I know, like, base pass too. Like, he's a guy that can steal bases. Like, he does
Mhm.
everything the right way.
There's
I
no
don't
way you
know if,
give
like,
him
the
up.
prospect return or whatever would. I don't think it matches with the value he brings to that team and to the Cubs next year.
And dude, the excitement, by the way, this broke during the Bears comeback Saturday
Yeah.
night against the Packers. I could only imagine what was going on in that city. So, but any goodwill that you have built up now in terms of ownership, you would be cutting off your nose here. It just would make no sense to trade a guy that you drafted, developed, has become exactly what you thought. Now, I understand why other teams would love to have him because he's more, you could play him at shortstop where he was an above average defender there several years ago before Dansby Swanson came on board. So I understand the appeal of teams wanting him, but whether you believe in B WAR, where he was a 6 WAR player a season ago, or F WAR, where he was almost a 5 WAR player a season ago, you're not going to get that type of production out of a guy making 12 million this year. Like, come on, he's the perfect piece. You hang
Yeah.
on to him.
I don't see him getting traded.
I don't either. Just makes zero sense. Cubs fans, let us know, where's your excitement level on this, right? Is it, and I guess the big question is, could they go toe to toe with the Dodgers right now?
I mean, look, I think we saw last year, like, the Dodgers aren't invincible. They have a great team. You look at their team on paper. Obviously, they
Mhm.
have a couple guys who can beat you single handedly. But I mean, dude, yeah,
I agree.
the Dodgers got pushed to the max last year.
They were 2 outs from losing the World
I know
Series to
people keep
Toronto.
reminding us. I keep thinking it's 1 out. It's 2 outs when Miguel Rojas hit that homer.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Remember Bo Bichette's homer against Shohei early on in the game? 3
Yeah,
run
made it
shot.
3-0. Speaking of that, I think we might touch on Bo Bichette in the next few minutes. Per Buster Only from ESPN, Red Sox believed that they were going to sign Bregman, with their offer, which was 165 over 5, so very close with deferrals. And then they said it would have included I think last year they were going to make it so it was end up going to be 205 million over 6 years. The one major sticking point was that they were not willing to give in on the no trade clause, citing a quote organizational policy. Apparently, there's real disappointment within the franchise right now. Bregman's decision, they understand that he earned the right, but they were disappointed about it. There's also a ton of disappointment among the fan base. Should there be?
Yeah. Yes. I think there should be disappointment all around how all of this transpired, Chris. I mean, and it goes back to, offseason last year when, they forgot to talk to Rafael Devers about bringing in Bregman and they play the same position. Like they have failed along the way, like almost the entire way. Like the lack of communication to your star player, fail. Did he handle it the right way the whole time? Probably not, but he was kind of caught blindsided. So then you go in, you trade him, and I think that was like, okay, that's a huge kind of crazy move. This is a guy who was supposed to be there for his entire career, face of the franchise type stuff. You trade him, you say you didn't like the contract, you say like he couldn't play defense and he was going to be a DH, and so you kind of like kicked him out of town, a guy that a lot of people really liked there in Boston. You got rid of him. You come out and say, hey, we're going to be a better team without him. And you kind of were for a while. Like you went out, you won. But that was all predicated on Alex Bregman continuing to be in Boston. Like if he continued to be in Boston, it'd be great. And they did the right thing. They got out of the Devers contract. They got their new guy who they think is a better overall player. But to balk at, I don't know what it was, another $10, $15 million. And then the no trade clause, that's an organizational policy. That's what's going to lose you free agents, especially a guy who your players, your manager, your front office is all talked up to be like the solution there. You're the leader that you guys have been missing. And then you miss out on him. So now you're out a draft pick because you signed Bregman. You're out Rafael Devers. And now you're out Bregman. And what do you do? Like what's the pivot move here? They're right now, Chris, the fans have every reason to be disappointed in what the Red Sox have done. And by the way, you lost to the Yankees in the wild card series.
So I think that the thing that would bother me the most, I think the easy stuff is to say, right, well, we traded Devers after signing him to a $300 million deal. And we know that even in a bad year, like he supposedly had a bad year last year. He ended up with an 850 OPS and 35 bombs and was a 4-WAR player at first base. Sign me up if that's a bad player. You don't get Bregman. You talked about the draft pick. Like all that stuff makes sense. To me, the thing that would piss me off the most is the steadfast line that Boston seems to be drawing. And I can't quite figure out this whole thing. There are always exceptions to be made, right? When you treat stars like stars. I remember Jimmy Johnson, the Hall of Fame football coach for the Dallas Cowboys. There's a very famous story in which there was a backup linebacker named John Roper who fell asleep in a team meeting. And he cut him. He was like, don't need that shit. Get out. And so I remember asking him when he came on the Best Damn Sports Show, period, Coach, what would have happened if Troy Aikman or Emmitt Smith or Michael Irvin had fallen asleep in a team meeting? He said, you know what I would have done? I would have walked over to him and I would have shaken him. I would have said, hey, Troy, time to get up. We're having a team meeting. And we all laughed, but he's like, you treat your star players different, man. Not everybody's the same. And so I imagine everybody in this clubhouse is watching the way that Boston is doing business. And if you're not going to treat Alex Bregman like the star he is, when are you ever going to make an exception? Ever? What if the next guy who's a better player than Alex Bregman wants to come to Boston and wants a no-trade clause? Because there are a ton of guys who have no-trade clauses who aren't as good as Alex Bregman. Then what are you going to do?
I think it's silly to balk at that. Like Alex Bregman has earned a no trade clause. Okay, like that's just facts. Like you said, go around the league, see all the guys that have no trade clauses. There's a lot of them. Alex Bregman has earned that. Like once you make free agency, you've been, getting shipped around, had to settle for essentially a 1-year deal in Boston. He's got young kids. He just wants stability.
Mhm.
And he would have taken stability in your organization. If you would have come up on the number, which again, what was the difference? Was it $10 million?
Well, that's the report.
So yeah, I mean, look, you not only did you balk at the no trade clause, but you didn't even give the best offer.
We also don't know what the deferrals, how it would have totally played out with present day value and all those things.
It's still, to me, you're right. Like you can make exceptions, and I think you should. And if this is your guy, it's your guy.
Well,
They zooed it, coach. They zooed it.
so I think that Boston has a bit of a perception problem, and the perception is right now they're sloppy. They're sloppy because the communication doesn't seem to be top notch, whether that was between Devers or Bregman's camp. They're sloppy and really roll a hard line with big names, right? It dates back to Mookie Betts. That scar tissue has not healed for Boston fans,
Yeah,
nor should it, right?
yeah.
That guy, there's a lot of people that feel like he should still be playing in Boston instead of winning multiple rings in LA and continuing his Hall of Fame trajectory in Dodger blue instead of Red Sox red. And then the Devers stuff. How much after he signs a $300 million deal do they send him out and say we're better for it? Like that's a lot of stuff where an organization has to explain itself. And quite frankly, I don't think it doesn't pass the smell test to me.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to get out of your own way sometimes.
So it's the world famous buzzword in sports. What do we do when something happens that we don't foresee it? Pivot. What does this franchise do next?
I don't know if there's a lot out there, Chris. I mean, obviously, like the natural reaction would be like, "Hey, let's go get Bo Bichette. He's younger, and I just don't know if they're gonna be able to match what other teams are going to give him. Maybe that's the answer, but besides that, there's really not a ton that they can go after. You can think about like a Heim Bloom sending over another Cardinal and Brendan Donovan over there. Maybe they do that. I think if you don't, if I mean, obviously they didn't get Bregman. I think you look at your internal options and give those guys a chance. Like you just signed Christian Campbell to a deal. You got Marcelo Meyer. Like I think I'd give them a chance and then see what we can do. Like I still think they need to deal from their outfield depth. I do. And whether that means getting a young pitcher from the Mets or whatever else it is that they need, I think that's the next step. I don't think you're finding like a replacement for for Alex Bregman. I'd be shocked if Bo Bichette went there.
Do you think that because they have been active this offseason, right? They
Yeah.
traded for Sonny Gray. They brought in Oviedo from Pittsburgh. They traded for Wilson Contreras. They've added all of that to the payroll. They made a ton of financial commitments to their young players, right? They extended Crochet. Roman Anthony got his deal. Rafaela got his deal before that. Campbell got his deal, even though he spent much of the time in the minors last year. So it's not like that's what Sam Kennedy, their team president, said. He said, I want to make sure people understand that we have spent money.
Yeah.
We've reinvested it in ourselves, and that is something. That is something. You're trying
They
to,
have
but
a nice core here, Chris. There's no doubt about it. But it's now it's getting all of these really nice pieces to fit together. I still think they're figuring that out. That part of it out.
But do you think if you were to ask Red Sox fans if this has been a successful offseason, with as much as they've added, don't you think most of them would say absolutely not?
Yeah, because yes, because now they've missed out on Bregman, and also I think a lot of people were hoping that Pete Alonso went there.
Right.
And I
That
know
was a
they get
big
Wilson
one.
Contreras, and don't sleep on that guy. I think he can have a lot of success in Boston. I think he is just a pure hitter. I really really like that move. So I'm thinking even if they did deal and say they went to the Mets and said, hey, we got an outfielder for you, and we'll take whoever it is, Jonah Tong. I mean that would really be nice for their rotation. You start to look at that rotation, and be like, oh my goodness. Because even right now, I'm like, okay, they got some dudes there.
They do.
I like Sonny Gray still. I think he's a good back end of the
Mhm.
rotation type guy. But you got Crochet, you got Bayo, you got Oviedo came over, and then O'Toole we saw there last year. Like they have some rotational depth there, which is kind of what I'm always looking at for teams.
Mhm.
And adding a young controllable starter to that would be really really nice for them. But as far as like fans think, I don't know what it is that could make them say yes, it was a successful offseason just because you took two swings at a Pete and a Bregman and didn't get either.
I think there's a lot of lack of confidence that they would outbid a team like Philadelphia with whom Bichette is meeting on Monday. Feels like, well, we're not going to outbid them for him. We wouldn't go the distance with Alex Bregman. So why are we going to do it here for a younger player that's going to cost us more money? I think there's a lack of confidence that the Red Sox are willing to flex their financial muscles because for whatever the reason is, they just haven't when it's come to big game hunting recently. We'll see. I don't know, Sox fan. I just think baseball fans in general. What are your thoughts of the Sox? Like, how do you perceive them? I think they get a little.
I think they're right there, Chris.
I do too.
They need to take like another step.
Yeah, I mean, you had them going to the World Series last year, didn't you?
Yeah, there's like this meme out there. It's like this guy excavating looking for this diamond, and he's like dug a tunnel, and he's like he doesn't know it, but he's just like one swing away from the diamond. He's like turning around. Like I feel like that's the Red Sox right now. They're so close.
They are close. It's right there. Go grab it. Still time. Still plenty of shopping days left. You know me, I love trades, but I think they might be a little hesitant to pull the deal because they have made some trades and they feel like maybe they've depleted their system a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily go as far as depletion, but I understand that. You can only fire so many of those shots, but I'd like to see a few. Hey, you want to eat better, but you have zero time and zero energy to make it happen? Don't worry. Factor doesn't ask you to meal prep or follow recipes. It just removes the entire problem. We're talking about 2 minutes, real food, done, bingo. You're not failing at healthy eating. You're failing at having 3 extra hours every night. Factor, already made by chefs, designed by dietitians, delivered to your door. You heat it for 2 minutes, you eat it. You heat it, you eat it. They have meals that fit your goals and your schedules, whether that means healthier eating, calorie management, more protein, anything else you're looking for. We actually have Factor at John Boy Media back in the office in New York. They're the best thing for those busy days. And it's great for me, especially when I don't have a lot of time. I'm always looking for something. The middle of the day, I've told you before, that's my problem time. I open the refrigerator. I'm like, geez, what do I need? Well, I need to head on over to factormeals.com/today50off. Use the code today, the number 50, and then OFF. You're going to get half off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offers only valid for new Factor customers with the code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy, thanks to our friends over at Factor. All right, Buster Olney, buddy from ESPN. Thanks for contributing to today's show, Buster. He reports that the Yankees and Cody Bellinger are at an impasse in negotiations. New York is now operating under the assumption that Belly's going to sign elsewhere. How do you think this saga ends? With Belly back in pinstripes or saying bye-bye to the Bronx?
If this is the final offer and we're hearing it's like 30 a year for 5 years, I don't think that gets the job done just because the positional flexibility and like the fact that he's left-handed fits so many other teams that I think someone's going to pony up that extra year or 2 years that he's looking for. So I think the saga ends with him signing elsewhere. And I think he could end up signing with the Mets. Like I think that could happen. I truly, truly do. So to me, if the Yankees are stuck at this number, Chris, I don't think it gets the job done.
Would that be a mistake by them?
I mean, he played really well there. Like he fits a lot of what they need as well. Like obviously he fits the ballpark. It depends how they reallocate the money, I guess, if it's a mistake or not.
Well, earlier in this show, we talked about Alex Bregman, that you think he's going to age well because his game doesn't rely on athleticism. That's exactly what Cody Bellinger is all about. Is about being a great athlete, that it is his size. He can run the bases and play multiple positions and still track it down in the outfield. At some point, whether it's year 4, 5, 6 of that deal, Cody Bellinger just becomes kind of a hitter first baseman and loses a little bit of what has made him a former National League MVP, don't you think?
Yeah, sure, but like throughout the history of baseball, like contracts understand that. Like, hey, like if we want to get our guy, like we might have to have a bad year or two at the end of the contract because we want those prime years coming up. So Bellinger's 30 years old right now. Like,
Mhm.
when do you see all those things leaving him? Is it 34? Like, would you
Don't
say
know.
he has 4 more good years?
I don't think he has 4 more at this level of athleticism. I still
But
think he
why
can be a
not though?
good
Why
baseball
not?
player.
Like I still think that it's very person dependent. How do you take care of your
Right.
body? Like with the advancements in training and kind of recovery that we have now,
Mhm.
I think it truly is person to person now and how you age. That's just facts, dude. So is Bellinger going to take care of his body? Is he that type of dude that's going to continue to, put the time in? I guess I don't really know. And the Yankees probably have a pretty good idea of that. So if they believe, hey, in their projection system that they have, the proprietary system they got, if they believe he's going to give them another 4 years, good years, like, do you pony up and say we'll give you 6, and the last 2 maybe not so good, and you might just be 60% of the player that we're paying for? Like
Mhm.
I think you got to do it still.
Well, listen, you make a
Like,
really
how
good
long is the Aaron Judge window, Chris?
that's another great point,
Do you know what
right?
I
He's n
mean? Like we got one of the best hitters to ever walk the face of the earth right now. And we
Mhm.
haven't really got the job done with him. So do we maybe we need to take a chance here and surround him with the talent that he needs.
Yeah,
That's
and
worth
they
it to me.
yes, okay. I think you make some really good points, and the athleticism question is really good, and I know that we've talked a lot of football kind of, but I do think it's pertinent from this standpoint. There's a guy who's gonna be a future Hall of Fame linebacker named Bobby Wagner. He still plays for the Washington
Yeah.
Commanders. He's 35 years old. He's right in the middle of their defense. He's one of the smartest players ever, but you still have to be athletic in order to make every play. Not only did he lead the team in tackles at age 35, he was top 5 in the NFL in tackles this year. Still, and that's because the guy cares. Yes, obviously, he's an exceptionally bright player, and that can help you at the NFL level, so it's a little bit different, but it doesn't mean that you're right, that at age 34 that he automatically falls off a cliff, and I think I have a hard time with that because you just think that a guy turns 32 or 33, and then all of a sudden the next year he can't run and chase things down and hamstring injuries happen, and it does. It happens to some people, but you are taking a chance. You are taking a chance, and at some point, you're right. The Yankees have to take that chance. It has been this is now year 17 that we're going into without a World Series championship and only one appearance in the Fall Classic. Because if you don't re-up with him, then where do you go? What do you do?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's I think you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, when it's all said and done, and Aaron Judge's time is over in New York, because obviously eventually it will. He's not going to play forever. Did we do enough? And can you live with yourself if you say we had one of the best pure hitters of all time and we didn't do enough? Because we balked at 2 years on Cody Bellinger.
right. So, very quickly, let's play this out. And if he does go to the Mets or elsewhere, what did the Yankees do in the outfield? Is it Jason Dominguez's job? Who he looks like the kid playing JV that gets called up to varsity every
I
time
never
there's a
know what
fly
to
ball
make
at
of
left.
Jason Dominguez, man. He was
I don't
supposed to
either.
be the guy, and he never really gets a full chance.
Well, he's also, I mean, it's limited looks, but he was very good against right-handed pitching and sub 600 OPS against lefties. So then do you pair him with an Austin Hayes, who's a guy that mashes lefties? Like, is that how the Yankees are going to roll? Is a
He's
platoon?
still 22 years
I
old.
know, dude.
Oh my
I know,
god.
but you're not going to feel good about it. about saying he's our everyday left fielder going into camp. You're not. You could spin it whatever way you
Oh,
want.
sure, yeah. I mean, it depends what you do. Again, how do you reallocate that money? That you just said you were gonna spend $30 million next year
Well,
on Bellinger, so where do you go from that? What can you do to make that up, and who can you spend that on? I don't really know, Chris.
I don't know. And they're also still supposedly chasing a starting pitcher, whether that's Freddie Peralta, who doesn't make anything,
Well, Edward Cabrera was their guy, not anymore.
right? That's not happening. So there's still stuff to be done here with the Yankees. And I would love to hear how Yankee fans think this is going to end.
What would
I
they give for Byron Buxton and Joe Ryan right now?
What would they have to give up?
What would they be willing to give for that? I know they're after those guys. And I know the Twins have said they're not trading either of them. Byron has a full no trade clause.
I mean, you'd have to give up a ton because what does
But these are the
Buxton make?
these okay. I just kind of like threw that out there. I don't think that's gonna
Yeah, you
happen.
sure as shit did.
That's fine. But they've been after these guys. It's not like some secret. Um, those are the swings you got to take right now, in my opinion. When you got Aaron Judge, you're going to get Garrett Cole back too, because you can't forget about that guy. You paid Max Fried, like you're in this window, and like if you don't do enough, I think you're going to truly regret it. So like take the swings, man. Empty the farm system, pay some extra money. Like it's time, especially like how often do we say the AL stinks right now? We don't have a dominant team. So all those things considered, like, don't you have to like say it's our time to take some swings?
Yep. That package would be fascinating, right? You move Grisham to left. You put Buxton in center and Joe Ryan.
Twins fans, forgive me for bringing that up.
Wow,
I'm just thinking, I'm
better
just
check
like
your
saying,
mentions
like, what's
after
the
this
crazy
one.
package? What are they looking for? Outfield, have starting pitching, whatever it is. I mean, they were rumored on both these guys. They really like him. I just brought it up. Sorry.
I think it's fun. I think it's
I
fun
know you
because
like
it makes sense. I mean, obviously, young starting pitcher that's already at the major league level that's more controllable than Joe Ryan would be going back to Minnesota, plus a lot of other stuff. A lot. That's
like, are we talking like what are the Reds? Can the Reds do something for the Yankees? We know they have the pitching, but do they have somebody that can go back in the outfield? Not really. Like
no,
Ellie's not going anywhere. I'm just thinking
no.
about big shit, Chris.
Yeah, that's big. I like that. All right, my star from Cleveland, Jose Ramirez, did a long form podcast down in the DR. He does not do these very often at all. Among the topics was the very team friendly contract he signed with Cleveland right before the 2022 season started. He said there was real trade discussions and offers from other teams willing to extend me at my full asking price, but my heart was set on staying in Cleveland. First and foremost, my children were born here. My wife feels comfortable in Cleveland, and so do I. I owe this city a lot. Like, if he's not already the most popular player in maybe Guardians history, he solidified it with those comments as well. So I want to get that out there. The big question baseball-wise, and I don't know if he talked about this. I couldn't find it, and obviously I'm not good on the translation. Whether or not he felt like the team lied to him and said, we're going to spend more money, and whether or not he feels like the team has under-delivered since he signed on the dotted line. So what do you think?
That's an interesting question. Obviously, we weren't in the room when they were like, "Hey, this is what our plan is." I feel like they really haven't like gotten off their plan. Like that's kind of they've been who they've been for quite some time. I guess maybe that's more of a question for you than for me. They have had success. I'll say that. So you can take it one of two ways. Hey, like he signed up for this organization, understanding they're not going to play with the big boys as far as going and adding talent, and they believe in their system and bringing guys up, and they've had success. Or you can say because they've had that success and haven't capitalized on it, like during those years when, hey, we got a pretty dang good team here. What can we add? And they just haven't done that. Like, is that disappointing to him? I feel like if I'm Jose Ramirez, I know what I signed up for. He didn't sign up with a team that goes out there and makes a ton of moves and goes out and gets the big free agent. And you know what? Like, I think he's a hell of a ball player, but there is something to say about like feeling comfortable somewhere. Like, would he be the same player somewhere else? We'll never know. I think he probably would be, but we'll never know. So I don't like feel bad for Jose Ramirez.
That's
I
interesting.
don't.
That's really interesting. You're right, and I will say this: knowing Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff the way that I do, and those are the decision makers in Cleveland, not the financial ones. That's the Dolan family, and that's really where the problem is. It's not the president and the GM of this team. I can't imagine they sat down and they said, "Listen, we're going to go crazy spending, and we're going to go top 15 in the league, and we're going to surround you with this, that, the other thing." I can't imagine that's what they did and then didn't follow through. I think I imagine that they probably said, "Hey, Jose, you know kind of where we are. We hope to add more players, but we're not so sure financially where we're going to sit." So during that time in 2022, here's where payroll has ranked: 27th, 25th, 23rd, 25th. And now it could be last going into this year, depending how things shake out with Class A. Their wins over those times: 92, 76, 92, and 88. 3 playoff appearances in 4 years. And so the team will say, we'll take our chance. Did you see the report out there that MLB.com did in terms of looking at the minor leagues and getting executives to vote on certain topics, like who's got the best farm system, who's the best at developing pitching and Jonathan Mayo, I think, did this poll. And when it came to which team hugs its prospects the most, the Cleveland Guardians were far and away the runaway winner at almost 35% of the vote. The next closest team, I think, was the Pirates, who got like 9% of the vote. So the point is that Cleveland loves cheap labor, loves it. And so it's Jose. Last year, 8 of the top 9 guys that got at bats on their team grew up through their farm system. The other guy was Carlos Santana, who came over as a young pup for an established major leaguer.
Great trade.
Lake, right?
Great trade for them.
5 of the top 7 pitchers that threw innings on their team, homegrown. The other 2 guys were Slade Ciccone and Ortiz, who came over in salary dumps. So this team loves to live at the bottom. And to me, why haven't we talked about them wasting Jose Ramirez's prime the way that the Angels have wasted Mike Trout's? For God's sakes, at least Mike Trout signed the richest deal in the sport when he stayed. Jose Ramirez signed way below market value.
They have added much more than the Guardians have as far as like payroll, signing guys. I mean, they had Shohei Ohtani, they had Anthony Rendon, Albert Pujols, all these guys. They didn't work out.
They've tried harder in terms of
They tried harder. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's all you can kind of do, Chris.
So
but I don't think the Guardians sold Jose Ramirez on that dream of, hey, we're going to go out and sign all these guys. I don't think they did that.
Probably not. But why do people look at Mike Trout and want to have a pity party for him? And we look at Jose Ramirez and we say, well, whatever. I mean, this is one of the great players in the history of the franchise. And look at what they've surrounded him with. It's a bunch of young pups every year.
In 2016, was he was a rookie?
He wasn't a rookie. I think he came up in 2013, but that was the first year he really got a full-time crack.
Yeah, and that was like they had some, I feel like they made some moves that year too. Didn't they bring in, was Napoli already there?
No, Napoli was that year. And then they eventually signed Edwin Encarnacion to the richest free agent contract in Guardians history. Like they were. Yeah, the Andrew Miller
came
trade
over.
In 2016.
Yeah, he created the fire putter outer role in the bullpen.
Right, but it's so interesting to me that we look at Jose Ramirez and we're like, yeah, well, they're kind of in the playoffs, and then Mike Trout, we're like, oh, I feel so bad for Mikey.
Also, well, that's you just made the argument. Mike Trout's played in 3 postseason games, and Ramirez has been there.
Yeah, but they haven't. It's almost like Josh Allen with the Bills. I'm big on the football crossover today. It's like, hey, go save us. Go for it, brother.
Yeah. They've had some pitchers. I agree. Look, I don't think he got lied to. So, like, you know what you signed up for.
I don't think he got lied to.
And you can't be mad. Like, if you knew teams were going to pay you more and you took a hometown discount because you liked it, I mean, you knew what was going on. Like you put yourself in the situation, and I think he's happy. Like you
He
can't
is
tell me
very
that
happy.
Jose Ramirez isn't happy.
He is happy. He is happy. He
So
loves those guys, and they love him,
yeah,
and that city adores him, and he's just
a little
great.
bowling ball, just doing everything on the field the right way.
Looks good, though.
I love
Off-season
watching him
workout.
run. That's one of the best runs in all of baseball, man.
All right, last thing. Other part of the state of Ohio, the Reds had a veteran reliever in Pierce Johnson. Pitching staff looks good, right? They brought back Pagan. That was nice. Their starting rotation is deep, talented. But are they not serious contenders until they do something with that offense, in your opinion? Let's do this one quickly.
Yeah, I think they need to do something. And I think that becomes via trade. Some of that starting pitching depth, go trade and figure it out. I don't know. The teams that want starting pitching like that, probably going to be in contention. How much are they willing to give up of major league ready talent? That's kind of like the conundrum I feel like the Reds are at right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
who is going to be willing to part with major league bats for pitching right now? Like, I don't know what team is going to do that. So if you trade those guys, a lot of times it might be young guys, young
Mm-hmm.
controllable guys. Great for you in the long term, but as far as like this year or maybe even next year, like I don't know where they go. It could be the Red Sox. Like the Red Sox are a trade partner for them, and they do have major league ready outfielders to trade. So like that's one place we could see that happening with. But to answer your question, yes, they need to do something offensively to for me to get back into it. There's some places where that roster looks really nice matched up against these other teams, but if they don't find someone to better that offense, then they're not true contenders in the NL Central.
Yeah, their additions offensively, J.J. Bleday and Dane Myers. That's not going to make anybody run to the box
Like
office.
does Jaron Duran change things?
Could. I think so. I mean, they were kind of middle of the pack when it came to OPS and runs and bottom 10 and homers. So they're kind of a nondescript offense. But you look at the young players that they've got and you say, well, if they just kind of grow up and mature, I think that's a little bit of a tough way to go. We mentioned that, what's gone on with Cleveland and how they have relied on their prospects more than any other team. Well, Terry Francona has been through this. So I don't think you have to convince Tito. I don't think he's going to go in to the office and say, hey, guys, we need more help at the top of the lineup. I think he'll just kind of roll with it. And they'll hope that Matt McClain turns into the player that we thought he was going to be.
I was just looking at his stats last year, not so good. Coming back
Horrible.
off an injury, maybe just a weird year, full healthy offseason. Maybe he comes back better next year.
And Ellie De La Cruz, who has made improvements in his game. Like he's a star, but at some point he's got to play like one too. Right?
I want to look at bat speed on McClain and see if it went down from 2023. 70.3 average and 69.7 last year. So down a tick. That's pretty low percentile.
Well, look, they could end up getting some great performances. Sal Stewart, right? Had a little bit of that wow factor. Their outfield just doesn't do it for me at this point. Oh God. It's not great. Not great. All right, Cincy, get going. I know you made the playoffs last year, but that was in part because the Mets fell off a train. So let's go. Get better. They're a fun team to watch because they do have so much good pitching. Go do something. All right. Once again, we're getting kind of sprinkled with baseball news. The Bregman drop was great over the weekend. We loved that. We appreciated that. Thank you, Cubs. I'm sure at some point we'll hear from him in the next few days. Bellinger's still out there. Ranger Suarez is still out there. Tucker's still out there. Yeah, there's a lot of still good players. Framber's still out there. I think there's still maybe a trade or two to happen. Still fascinated to see if anything happens with Tarek Skubal on that front. But we'll have something to talk about later this week.
Yeah, we will.
All right. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. Enjoy your flight here on Shohei Airlines. We'll see you soon on Baseball Today.